So now we've seen about 3 days worth of new Battlefield 4 kind of content and footage. I wanted to just kind of ask you some questions regarding your opinion on what we've seen so far. Obviously, we did do our kind of initial live reactions, which is when we'd seen the trailer for about 30 seconds or so. But I wanted to ask you, now you've had 3 or 4 days of kind of reflection time, and also in these kind of last few days, a lot more information has come to the surface and stuff. So I wanted to just ask you, are your kind of first reactions still the same as they were 3 days ago, or has your opinion changed in any kind of way?
I don't think my opinion's changed. It's more just got better as more footage has come out, as more little hints in the live stream here and there have come out. Like when we did that initial video, like you said, we were like 30 seconds after the reveal, we rewatched it and it was like, holy shit, this is amazing. But
I know, yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, but like even now, watching the live stream now, I'm still sitting there thinking, damn, this is going to be a bloody good game if it looks like this in alpha or pre-alpha, as it says in the top left corner all the time. And it's just,
yeah, exactly.
It's just like looking at Battlefield 3 and all the feedback we gave them. They didn't put it in that game. They've put it in this one. So
yeah, I actually saw somebody say that, saying this seems to be the Battlefield 3 game they've made after they've listened to the players and the consumers. And they've kind of taken on board all these things, and now they've put them into the game. It's almost like they knew they wanted to put them in Battlefield 4, so they intentionally left them out of Battlefield 3 to try and make it, to try and create a much, a newer game for Battlefield 4. So, I mean, like you said, since Monday now, I think it was, my kind of impressions have just only gone up, really. I mean, like you said, the pre-alpha looked, it's pre-alpha, and it looks good. If that came to even beta the way it is now, I'd still be pretty impressed. It is looking very, very, it is very, very impressive. I mean, has anything stuck out to you so far that has really grabbed your attention, especially in the live streaming since we saw the kind of staged streaming event? Now you've seen a lot of other people playing it in a realistic kind of environment. Is there anything else that's really stuck out to you or grabbed your attention so far?
Well, I liked all the big things that they mentioned, like the spectator mode and the Levolution, but I was coming to expect that anyway, so I kind of thought, well, they're really good features, but it's not really what I was sort of looking for. It's something that we didn't kind of know was going to be there, so you wanted them to sort of announce something that we didn't even know they were gonna do. So, like, I'm really interested in, like, the naval combat side of things and the way they've tweaked suppression, because it's the smaller things that, for me, that make a big difference. Like with Battlefield 3, when they first tweaked suppression only a couple of months after they'd released Battlefield 3, it changed the game completely. So I like the way that now for naval combat you're going to have these boats, but you could still get away on a jet ski if your vehicle's been disabled. So they thought about the kind of things where you're just going to be left in the middle of the water, and the fact that now you can like swim and sprint swim, and you can even like pull out your secondary and dive under the water and have like battles underneath the water. It's just little things like that that don't sort of do a massive thing all over, but to the battle and you staying alive and feeling immersed in the game, it's just going to be so much more, I don't know, it's so much better than Battlefield 3.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole water thing actually blew my mind. It's something that has been that way since I remember the days of Bad Company 2, when you'd things like Arica Harbour or even Sen Crossing, you'd dive in the water, try and get across, and someone starts shooting at you, and that is it. You're just a sitting duck. So this idea now that you can pull out a pistol, you can even dive beneath the water. It's just these little extra things, like you said, that are going to make a massive change to the game. Like even when you jump into the water and his head submerges below the water for a couple of seconds, it's just that kind of thing that really, I think it's going to make a massive change to the game. I mean, some of the things I spoke in my video today, little tiny things that, as you said, I think are going to make a really big change. Things like you can now put any of the gadgets that you have into any of the 2 slots. So that's going to improve customization. Obviously, on Battlefield 3, you can only put, say, an underbarrel grenade launcher in your first slot and then your defibrillators in the second slot. But now you can put any items in any slot, which means your choices of what you carry are going to be times tenfold, even if you're only carrying the same pieces of kit you could in Battlefield 3. So it's little things like that that, as you said, are going to really make a big difference in the game, I think.
It's all over as well. They've really tried to, like when we said they took all the feedback, they really did take every bit of feedback and think, do you know what, how could we make this better? How could we improve this? How could we make this less overpowered? How could we do this? And it's just like they've managed to track it all the way from the start of Battlefield 3. It's not just stuff they've collected while Endgame's coming out, because like stuff like the gunship from Armored Kill is now going to be fully in Battlefield 4, which means they've tested it, they found out it worked, they found out about how it didn't work in Armored Kill, how it was quite overpowered to start off with in Rush, and then they tweaked it and they thought, right, it works like this, so maybe now we can put that into our new game. And it's the way they've gone through every little detail and gone, how can I make this much better, and how can I change the gameplay with it?
It's like you said, it's almost as if the last couple of DLCs for Battlefield 3, each one was just DICE testing, you know, we'll test this, see how that works, we'll test this, see how that works, and like you said, it feels like now there's kind of a combination of all these different DLCs, the good and, you know, all the good parts from all of them, kind of put together into this one game. I mean, other little things that I've noticed that I like to see, the blue glare has gone. I mean, I never really had a problem with the blue glare, to be honest. I like that kind of blue kind of effect that Battlefield had, but it seems to have gone completely now. Even your kill feed isn't blue anymore, it's just white, so...
It does look... But it looks more grown up.
Yes, it looks a little bit more... It just looks like a maturer game. I mean, one little thing that I wanted to talk to you about is something that I failed to mention in my latest video, and it was something that I think is a big... One of those little things that will have a big change, and it's... I think it's there to counteract spawn trapping. Have you seen on the gameplay the bollards that you can activate? Now, this is something I've not really seen anybody go into any great detail on yet, but I've seen players run up to the bollards and they have a green light and they've either swiped at it with a knife or shot it and it's gone red, and the bollards have come up, which apparently are invincible, so even tanks can't get into your spawn, or they can't get to the flag. Now, I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but I just wanted to kind of, you know, see what your thoughts are on this kind of idea that you know, it seems to be a kind of put in place as a reaction to the spawn trapping we used to see in Battlefield 3.
I mean, like, if you think about Metro and how there's only the 3 flanking routes, if you think there could be shutters on one of those sets of stairs, that's how essentially this is going to work, where you're blocking off a route for the enemy to take, or you're even blocking your own team from, like, moving up too quickly. You want them to hold a position a bit longer, you can leave the bollards up. It makes them stop and then carry on. And it's just like, if you're going to have a barrage of tanks coming down the road and suddenly those bollards are there, just think, oh brilliant, I'll just hide down behind this fence here, wait for them to get to the bollards, I'll run up behind them, C4 them, that way they won't get to my objective. It seems to have been thought out, like you said, with the spawn trap, and I think it will, like, sort of focus gameplay a bit more. And you know, like, central flags are always, if you think Wake Island in Battlefield 3, if you've got the C flag, you have access to the jets on the main island, so then if you could sort of control that area for the whole game, you are going to dominate. But it still stops you from spawn trapping, because, like, if they're going to have them further across the map as well, it will stop them from getting to areas that obviously is going to be harder to take back.
It's also a good kind of idea. Obviously, like you said, we're not sure how these are really going to be implemented or how many they're going to be, but you could also use them on a, you know, a larger scale. If you say it was like a map like Grand Bazaar and you had 3 roads, if you could turn off the bollards or shut the bollards on the left-hand side and the right-hand side and force the enemy into a bottleneck down the middle, where you could have other teammates laying C4, waiting in windows with RPGs, snipers. It's this whole idea of kind of just increasing the amount of teamwork by saying, right, we close off this street, we close off that street, and then we just pounce on them in the middle street. And it's this whole idea of creating a much more realistic military situation where you can create bottlenecks, you can create hotspots. And I think it's something that, I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, wow, that is, it's kind of, I didn't know what it was for, but it got me excited. I was like, this could be something potentially really cool and really game-changing to Battlefield. So, but it's something that, like you said, I've not seen many people talk about it yet. So, you know, it is something one of the first things probably I want to kind of experiment with myself in the beta. Really, I think it should be fun.
I mean, like, we've seen a lot in the game, like all of these brand new features, but I think something we've got to think about, even if it is pre-alpha and it looks really good, and there are still features there that haven't been detailed yet, but we've seen there's stuff that isn't in there that will be. Because, like, the defib thing, I put out a video today, I didn't realise that the defibs were so bugged that they took them out of this build just for E3 so that people could play the game without bugs, or too many, like, noticeable bugs.
Yeah, I think it was Demise, wasn't it? The DICE dev mentioned that on Reddit, didn't he? Yeah,
and I just think that even we're at this point, they're still innovating all these brand new things, but we have to think that the game is nowhere near finished yet, and all of the things we're seeing right now are probably going to change in some form. So, like, even with the skyscraper falling down, they may add different animations to how it falls down, I don't know. But, like, the whole sort of that idea of it all working right now, it might not look like that, so you can't expect it to be exactly the same when it comes out. Things will change.
Oh no, I mean, if we look at the Battlefield 3 alpha, which I was lucky enough to have, I mean, The MCOMs changed around. We even had vehicles on Operation Metro. I mean, that now was absolutely flabbergasted some people, but there were vehicles on Operation Metro on the Alpha, and the objectives were in different places. I mean, the B objective was in the bandstand at the first two MCOMs. And it was practically in the middle of the enemy spawn, so you had to go there in numbers to even have a chance of taking it. And it's that kind of thing that, because that didn't work, they changed it, and now, you know, it's a bit more successful. So I actually think that having this pre-alpha, which is something Battlefield 3 didn't have, can only be a good thing. The more chance we get to play this game earlier down the line and really give this game a test means, you know, they find these bugs quicker, they balance this game better. So I'm just hoping that this time they release the alpha and the beta a little bit earlier than they did with Battlefield 3, so the beta can actually be worthwhile and really have some effect on the game. Because with Battlefield 3, it wasn't so much a beta as it was just a demo.
Yeah.
Really.
It really was. Like, even if you think about it right now, Battlefield 3 to me, even to this day, I know that they've done a lot of tweaks and stuff. It still felt rushed. They didn't felt like it seemed like they had to make this game in order to meet their 2-year cycle from Bad Company 2. And for Battlefield 4, they've used Battlefield 3 as sort of a stepping stone. It's a really clever move because they've got the whole BF community playing essentially the Battlefield 4 beta, but they're using it as like a launch pad for everything else that's going to be in Battlefield 4, and that's what everybody thought. But now it's been confirmed that, but we still thought, oh, it's going to be Battlefield 3.5. They've completely blown that out of the water because they thought of so many things that we actually wanted, and it's made it, even at pre-alpha, look like a blockbuster title. It just looks amazing.
Something's wrong.